So let's look at the example 70 minus 25, or in other words, 70 take away 25. Again, using place value thinking, the 7 means 7 tens. And to that, we also have 0, make that again a little darker. So 0 ones. And then what we're going to be doing is taking away 2 tens. And we're also going to be taking away 5 ones. So one way of looking at this is you could say, 7 tens take away 2 tens is 5 tens, but then you still got to take away 5 ones. And that gets a little bit confusing. So what we do though is, to keep it kind of simple, is as we kind of do in our addition problems and subtraction problems, it's really better to start in the ones place. So if I start at the ones place, notice how we have 7 ones take away 5 ones. I really can't take 5 from 0. If I don't have any ones, 0 ones take away 5 ones. You can't do that. So what we're allowed to do is, in subtraction, we have a concept called borrowing. So what we do is we go over here to the 7 tens and we borrow a 10 off of that. This turns this into 6 tens. By doing though, when we bring a 10 over to the 1 spot, you remember 1 10 is the same thing as 10 ones. So I could change that 0 ones to now 10 ones. Again, 6 tens is like 60 plus 10 ones is 70. So it still represents 70. I just kind of broke it apart and moved it around. But now we can focus on place value. We can then go 2 ones, take away 5 ones, and that would still be just 5 ones. And then we're going to add to that. If I have 6 tens, take away 2 tens, that's going to be 4 tens. So 4 tens plus 5 ones, we would write that as 45, because 45 means 4 tens plus 5 ones. So when I look at this example over here, 70 take away 25, since we have 0 ones and we have 5 ones here, we can't take away 5 from 0. So what we do is we come over here to the 10 spot, we borrow, we make 7 tens turn into 6 tens, since we're borrowing a 10. But remember, when we move a 10 to the ones place, we have to use ones place value thinking. So instead of having 0 ones, that now turns into 10 ones. Because remember, 1 10 is the same thing as 10 ones. And again, I can do the math. 10 ones take away 5 ones is going to be 5 ones. And 6 tens take away 2 tens is going to be 4 tens. In other words, answer would be 45. So let's look at this next example. So I have 400 and take away 297. So remember, the 4 means 400s. And then we're going to combine that with no tens. So I'll go ahead and just write those down to keep place value going on, placeholders. So there's not any tens, so it's 0 tens. And we also have no ones, so it's going to also be adding to that 0 ones. And then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be subtracting 200s. We're also going to be subtracting 9 10s. And then we're going to be subtracting 7 1s. So when we do this math, I can't, again, we like to start really to keep consistent. We really need to start at the ones place when we do this kind of math on paper. The algorithm just seems to make better sense going from the ones place to the tens place to the hundreds place. So notice how we don't have any ones, and I'm taking away 7 ones, so it starts to fall apart there because you can't take away 7 from 0. I can't borrow from the tens place, so I can't move anything over to the ones place. So this brings us to the hundreds place. I can borrow 100, so I can borrow that and make that 300s. And what I do is move that 100 over to the 10 spot. And remember, there are 10 10s in 100, so that turns into 10 10s because 10 10s is the same thing as 100. Now this allows me to borrow from the tens place to move to the ones place. So the 10 can then turn into 9 10s, and I can move that 1 10 over here to the one spot. That turns into 10 1s. And so using borrowing, I can rewrite the problem as 300s, 9 10s, and 10 1s. That's still going to represent 400 because remember that's 390 plus 10 is 400. So I'm just rewriting it in a format that allows me to go place value by place value by place value. So if I focus on 10 1s, take away 7 1s, that's going to give me then 3 1s. And that's going to combine with then 9 10s, take away 9 10s is going to be, well, 0 10s. And then if we have 300s, take away 200s, that's going to leave me then with 100. So we're going to combine these all together. So our answer would be then 100, 0 10s, and 3 1s. So the answer would be 103. So if we took a look at the problem over here, notice how we can't take away 7 from 0. And we can't borrow from the 10 because there's no 10s. So what we have to do is come over here to the hundreds place and borrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow 100 from the 400s, and that's going to turn into 300s. But since I borrowed 100, what I'm going to do is move that over to the tens place. But remember, 100 is the same thing as 10 10s. So it turns into a 10. Now what I can do is borrow from the tens place. By doing so, that's going to make that become 9 10s. And then that in turn is going to make this turn into 10 1s. So by borrowing from each place value, this enables me to do a subtraction problem, place value by place value by place value. So 10 1s, take away 7 1s, becomes then 3 1s. 9 10s, take away 9 10s is going to be 0 10s. And then 300s, take away 200s is going to end up being then 100. So the answer would be 103. So that's how we can kind of model subtraction using place value and what we also refer to as borrowing.